Backlash. You hear that name and you think, okay, this is the fallout, right? The big aftershock from WrestleMania.
Exactly. It usually carries that real charge. New directions, big moments.
For sure. High stakes, fresh rivalries starting. But Backlash 2025 in St. Louis, it sounds like the vibe was, well, kind of off.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. It wasn't just one or two people saying it. There seems to be this, like, broad sense of underwhelm, disappointment, really.
Right. Instead of that post-Mania buzz, it was just flat. Makes you ask what went wrong.
Definitely. And that's what we're diving into today. We're looking at the WrestlingTracks review of Backlash 2025.
And this review wasn't messing around. It actually suggested this could be WWE's worst of the year.
Which is, wow, pretty strong language in wrestling terms.
It is. So our mission here is to kind of unpack that review. What made it so negative? What specific things happened?
Yeah, let's dig into those key takeaways, the moments that led to that feeling. And the review actually gave grades for each match, which is helpful, gives us a clear breakdown.
Okay, let's jump in. Match 1. The U.S. Championship Fatal 4-Way. You had Jacob Fatu defending against Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, and LA Knight.
So 4 top guys. On paper, that sounds like a recipe for, an explosive start.
Absolutely. A chaotic kickoff, like the review said. 4 really explosive talents in there together. Should have been fireworks.
You'd think so. The potential was definitely there. Fatal 4-Way, anything can happen.
But something went sideways. The review points to Jeff Cobb jumping the barricade and then Solo Sikoa interfering too. That's where it apparently started falling apart.
The interference. The review called it a production nightmare, didn't it? And overbooking.
Yeah, overbooking.
Yeah.
Like just too much extra stuff happening outside the core 4 guys, right? It clouds the match.
It really can. A bit of interference can work, build a story, but too much. It just muddies the water. You lose track of the actual match. Production nightmare suggests it was maybe clumsy too.
Sounds like it. Did anything good come out of it?
Well, the review did mention some big spots and crowd reactions. So the crowd was into parts of it. Seems like the wrestlers delivered some high-impact moments.
Okay, so some excitement, but the main problem.
The story got lost. That's what the review hammered home. Buried under interruptions, confusion, and no real winner payoff.
And that's the killer, isn't it? You can have cool moves, but if there's no clear story or satisfying finish, what's the point?
Exactly. It leaves you feeling kind of empty. In the end, Fatu kept the title.
And the grade reflects that emptiness, I guess. A D+. Ouch.
Yeah, D+ mean. Barely passing. Suggests the negatives, the overbooking and confusion really dragged it down significantly.
All right, let's move to the second match. WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. Lyra Valkyria defending against Becky Lynch.
Okay. This one had a clear goal, according to the review anyway. It was meant to elevate Lyra Valkyria, put her over strong against a big name like Becky.
Makes sense. A classic way to build a new champion. But
yeah.
Did it work?
Apparently not. The review said it kind of missed the mark, left both women looking lost in a loop of near falls and reversals.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. Just trading moves without really building momentum.
Seems like it. Too many near falls can sometimes make the actual finish feel less impactful. It can get repetitive if it goes on too long.
And what about Becky's role? She was the heel here, right?
Yeah, and the review mentioned her tactics, ripping off turnbuckles, grabbing chairs, that sort of thing.
Standard heel stuff. How did that land?
The reviewer felt it was tired. Like maybe seen it too many times, didn't feel fresh or particularly villainous, perhaps.
And then there was something after the match, too.
Yeah, a post-match beatdown. But the review said that didn't help either. Didn't add anything meaningful to the story, it seems.
Were there any positives mentioned at all?
It did credit them with good technique and energy. So, the effort was there. They're both skilled performers.
But the structure let them down.
That seems to be the takeaway. Great wrestlers, but the match itself was flawed. Too long, repetitive finish. Post-match segment added nothing.
And Lyra Valkyria retains the grade.
See, so slightly better than the opener, but still.
Yeah.
Pretty mediocre. Barely acceptable with major issues.
Okay, third match. WWE Intercontinental title. Dominik Mysterio, the champ, versus Penta.
Right, Penta. You expect excitement there. High-flying, unique offense.
Definitely. The review notes he came in red hot. So the crowd was probably buzzing for this one.
You'd assume so, but then you have Dominik.
And the Judgment Day crew, right. The review mentions him relying on them again.
Yep. Seems like that was becoming a theme for the night already. Constant outside help for Dom.
Is that always bad, though? It's a part of his character, isn't it?
It is, but the review implies it's maybe becoming a crutch, happening too often, making the wins feel less legitimate each time.
Gotcha. Was there a standout moment in the match itself?
There was an incredible apron destroyer from Penta. That sounds pretty spectacular.
Yeah, those big, risky spots can really make a match pop.
For sure. But then, the finish.
Let me guess. Interference.
Bingo. The review says it was, yet again, marred by outside interference, plus a cheap win using a loaded mask headbutt.
Yet again. That phrase says a lot, doesn't it? Like, the reviewer was already tired of it by match 3.
Exactly. It points to that predictability issue. And the loaded mask feels a bit like an easy way out, maybe.
Yeah, kind of undermines the struggle. What was the final line from the reviewer on this?
Another distraction, finish, no clean victories in sight. Pretty damning.
Oof. So no clean wins yet? Dominik retains, and the grade.
A D, straight D. So even lower than the opener. The interference pattern is really hurting the scores.
Okay, next we had something different. A non-title match. Gunther versus Pat McAfee.
Yeah, this felt like the special attraction match. McAfee's obviously got charisma and mainstream appeal, but he's not a regular wrestler like Gunther.
So more spectacle than sport, as the review put it.
Pretty much. The goal was likely to create buzz, use McAfee's popularity.
How did the match itself play out, according to the review?
Well, it credits Gunther for basically carrying it with his stiff offense, which, that's Gunther's whole deal. Hard-hitting.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But McAfee.
The review said he never looked like a real threat, even with the crowd behind him.
Which is kind of tough, right?
Yeah.
You want the audience to believe, even a little bit.
It's a challenge with that kind of matchup, for sure. The skill gap is just there.
And the commentary didn't help things either.
Apparently not. Michael Cole's commentary got called out specifically. Added more cringe than drama, according to the reviewer.
Yikes. Bad commentary can really take you out of a match.
Oh, definitely. Good commentary enhances everything. Bad commentary.
Yeah, it distracts.
Any positives from this one?
The main one was that Gunther stays strong and terrifying. His presentation wasn't hurt by it.
So Gunther's dominant image is protected. That's important.
Crucial, yeah. But the match negatives were no believability and McAfee feeling out of place.
How did it end?
Gunther won via referee stoppage. Keeps him looking dominant.
And the grade? C. So a step up from the IC title match, but still just average at best. Entertaining in spots, maybe, thanks to Gunther, but flawed.
Right. Which brings us to the main event. Undisputed WWE Championship. John Cena defending against Randy Orton.
The big one. Two legends. Decades of history. This should have been huge.
Absolutely. Built on legacy, like the review said. Expectations must have been through the roof.
No doubt. Cena, Orton. Main event. You expect a classic, or at least something memorable for the right reason.
What did the reviews say happened here? Sounds like it went off the rails.
Yeah, it detailed a whole lot of stuff. 3 ref bumps.
3. Okay.
4 attitude adjustments.
Cena's finisher? Yeah. 4 seems like a lot.
A low blow. And an R-Truth spot.
R-Truth. In the middle of the Cena-Orton main event.
Apparently so. And the review was pretty harsh about that, saying it stole the show for all the wrong reasons.
Wow. So a comedy bit undercut the intensity of the world title match.
That's certainly what the review implies. R-Truth is great, but maybe not the vibe for the climax of the show between these two particular guys.
Yeah, timing and placement is everything with comedy and wrestling. Did anything work? Any good moments?
It mentioned a few nostalgic moments, which, with Cena and Orton, you'd expect some callbacks to their history.
Okay, small flashes of the past. But the overall verdict?
Not good. Big negatives highlighted. Nonsensical ending, ref chaos, and a heel turn that didn't land right.
A heel turn, too.
Mm-mm.
Who turned? Doesn't say. But it didn't work, apparently. That's a lot to go wrong in one main event.
It really is. Nonsensical ending, chaotic refereeing, a poorly received character turn. That's a recipe for a disaster in a main event.
Cena keeps the title, right?
Yep, Cena retains.
And the grade for the main event of Backlash.
An F. Straight up F, failing grade.
F for the main event. Wow, that's bad. That really tells a story about the whole show, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. When your main event fails that spectacularly, it leaves a terrible final impression.
But, hold on. The night wasn't quite over, was it? There was the press conference.
Ah, yes. The post-show presser, which, according to the review, might have been more interesting than the show itself.
That's kind of an indictment of the show, isn't it?
It really is. Suggests the planned matches didn't deliver the drama, but the unscripted, or perhaps semi-scripted stuff afterwards did.
So what happened? Cena came out?
Yeah, but apparently not to celebrate. The review says he came out to mock the fans.
Okay, leaning into maybe a heelish attitude after that confusing finish.
Perhaps. Then R-Truth interrupted him.
R-Truth again. Okay.
And Cena told him he'd cross the line, and then Cena attacked R-Truth, slammed him through the press table.
Whoa. Okay, that is dramatic. Physicality at the press conference?
Definitely unexpected. And the reviewer made a key point. That one moment had more heat than most of the show.
More heat. More genuine reaction, more buzz, more intensity from that one angle than from the 5 matches prior.
That's what the review argues, which really highlights the perceived lack of compelling action during the actual PPV.
So wrapping it all up, the review's summary of the night was pretty blunt.
Yeah. 5 matches. 5 title defenses. 0 clean conclusions.
0 clean finishes. That just jumps out, doesn't it? We talked about it match by match, but seeing it laid out like that...
It really underscores the core booking problem of the event. No decisive winners, everything muddled by interference or screwy finishes. It just leaves you unsatisfied.
And the final verdict from WrestlingTracks.
WW Backlash 2025 was all flash, no fire. They said fans were left exhausted and unimpressed by the chaotic run-ins and confusing finishes.
All flash, no fire. Sums it up. And the overall grade for the entire show.
A D, same as the IC title match. A D grade overall paints a picture of a fundamentally disappointing event.
So, if we boil down this whole review, the biggest criticism seems to be the storytelling, or lack thereof.
Exactly. The reviewer called it noise without narrative, chaos without consequence.
Noise without narrative. That's a great line. It feels like maybe they focus too much on, like, shocking swerves or just having stuff happen.
Possibly. Instead of building compelling stories within the matches, it sounds like it was just a series of events designed to get a reaction, but without the substance behind them.
Yeah, without the consequence. The moves, the run-ins, they didn't seem to mean much in the long run, according to this take.
Right. Wrestling needs that balance. You need the spectacle, sure, the excitement, but it has to serve the story, the characters, the journey. Otherwise, it just feels hollow.
The review did end on a slightly hopeful note, though, mentioning Night of Champions.
Yeah, hoping the next event would restore the balance, so maybe Backlash was just a misstep, an off night.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, so based on everything we've unpacked from this WrestlingTracks review, here's something for you, the listener, to think about. What do you see as the biggest hurdle for wrestling companies today? How do they balance that need for those big, surprising OMG moments that get buzz, while still telling stories that actually make sense and feel satisfying in the end? Where's that line between exciting chaos and just confusing noise?